we are here. That was for the Congressman. That was for Richie. We're here at what I always say, the house that Neal built, Union Station. And once again, our Congressman, our friend Richie Neal, delivers for his district, and especially the city of Springfield. This is a very, very healthy amount of monetary assets coming here to the city of Springfield and Western Mass to help out the PVTA. You know, we've had a lot of frontline heroes dealing with this COVID-19 and coronavirus, and some are unsung, like the bus drivers and PVTA, the staff and administration, who day in and day out have been providing vital transportation to people in need and to our workforce. And as we continue to defeat, and we will defeat this COVID-19, money is desperately needed to deal with PPEs and workforce development salaries and cleaning supplies and things to make the PVTA continue to flow, as it's doing very extremely well with Administrator Sandra Sheehan. So it's a pleasure and an honor to be here. Again, you can always count on Richie. Once a mayor, always the heart of a mayor, and he continues to deliver. And even though he is the chairman, powerful chairman of the House Ways and Means, he never forgets his district. He never forgets his home of the city of Springfield. So without further ado, to make this really big announcement is our Congressman, our friend, Richie Neal.
Thanks, Mayor. Thanks, Mr. Mayor. So this is an example of what we did in the CARES Act. The Ways and Means Committee wrote much of that legislation, including the money for our area hospitals, the job retention tax credit, and note today, $500 billion has now been loaned out to small and medium-sized businesses across the country with the Paycheck Protection Act. And I believe it's only slightly more than a week ago that legislation that I helped to author as well, called the HEROES Act, was passed in the House of Representatives. So this is $36 million for the Pioneer Valley Transit Authority. And I know Administrator Sheehan is here today. We have almost made good on everything. And I want to just point something out that I think is easily lost sometimes in translation. When we travel around, the number of people that are standing at bus stops is a reminder of the dependency that they have on public transportation. So I remember when the PVTA was born, gives you a timeline, when the first office was upstairs from Johnson's bookstore on Main Street. And since that time, it has more than met its obligations and responsibilities to people across Western Massachusetts. Yesterday, I spent an hour with Speaker Pelosi and Peter DeFazio, who was the chairman of the House Public Works Committee, the Infrastructure Committee. We've been together for a long period of time, and I intend to lay out specifically in coming days another plan and rail transportation. I endorsed the Markey plan today. I also believe that an infrastructure bill is going to be forthcoming on the House side. And despite, as you've noticed, with some of the commentary, in the end these bills are passing by sizable majorities. So even stories as recently as this morning about what's going to be necessary, as Moody's has dictated that state and local revenues across the country are going to decline, Mr. Mayor, as you highlighted to me in conversation, by up to 20 to 25%. So the mayor's been a terrific advocate in those conversations, but understanding that we are going to have to come to the aid of state government, because in the end, those are still the transfer stations that make the money available to local government. And I've had conversations with Governor Baker about this and intend to talk to him more as well. He's been supportive of what we've tried to do. So I think that state and local aid is going to be the magnet. Expanding the retention credit is going to be part of our deliberation, and we have also, in the HEROES Act, put out another $100 billion for our hospitals. They're the people that are on the front line. And as it relates to the transit authority here, it's still the ease with which we get from one place to another that creates greater efficiencies and increased and enhanced productivity. Amtrak and CT Rail, through these days, they have proceeded. We thought as we undertook support for the airline industry and for Amtrak, coming back up from DC last night, the plane was half full. So people are starting to move back in the direction of using airline travel. I hear that train every morning from my house on time, every morning, and every evening, I might add. And again, this is the epicenter of the transportation hub of Western Massachusetts. So all of these things that we're witnessing here, I think are part of essential services. And I know that Administrator Sheehan, in the course of these conversations, has been a terrific advocate for what it is that we've tried to do. So, Madam Administrator, go ahead, Sandra. I'm going to hold this.
Thank you. Good afternoon. PVTA is very pleased to be awarded funds from FTA through the CARES Act. Funding has been provided to support capital and operating expenses to prevent, prepare for, and respond to COVID. I want to thank everyone that had a role in securing this transit fund, especially Congressman Neal, who is such a big proponent of transportation in our region, as well as Senator Markey, Senator Warren, and Congressman McGovern. PVTA is extremely grateful to continue to have their full support and that of the Mayor Sarno of the City of Springfield. PVTA has been providing essential transportation services. The health and safety of our employees and passengers has been our main priority. These funds go a long way to ensure the protection of our workforce and passengers. PVTA will also use these funds to offset operating expenses incurred to maintain transit services during the pandemic, including any leave for transportation personnel. As the Congressman mentioned, these funds will also allow PVTA to continue to maintain transit service as it responds to operating and capital expenses for the upcoming years. I want to take this opportunity, if I may, to acknowledge the efforts of our operators, both fixed route and paratransit, who have shown so much courage during these challenging times. Their dedication to their jobs to do it well in the midst of so much adversity, and the teamwork of the maintenance staff to make sure that drivers and passengers have the safest vehicles possible. They take their role seriously as essential employees. They are our PVTA heroes. Thank you.
I don't know if there's any questions of the Congressman.
Is there more money for transit agencies than the heroes?
There is. Yes, there is.
And where is that legislation in the front?
Well, I noticed that Senator McConnell, despite his opening position, has softened it in recent days. He's pretty much adopted the same language based upon the proposals that we've come up with, only to say later on we're going to have to do these things. So he has already begun, I think, to soften his position in opposition to the HEROES Act. If you notice, he said that we're going to have to do something for state and local governments, and we think that's the opportunity to create a new path to getting a lot of these other things done that we want. The magnet, yes. I'm good at the magnet stuff.
Bipartisan.
Yeah, I mean, I think even despite all the conversation you heard about the CARES Act, it passed 388-5 in the House of Representatives. I mean, you'd be hard pressed to get 388 members of the House today to agree on the weather. We got 388 votes for it, and it was bipartisan. And remember, the opening statements were the same as they are with the HEROES Act. So with the HEROES Act, we're going to do this again. I mean, the Europeans, you can see right now with European Union, they're headed in this direction. The whole idea was liquidity in the system, keeping money flowing. And people at the bottom and in the middle of the economic system, they're going to need another $1,200. $2,400 for joint filers under $150,000. You're going to have to do this. This is just economic reality.
I just wanted to thank the Congressman too, because as he fights for this HEROES Act, this is essential for all frontline personnel, city and state. These budget holes that have been created, we manage our budgets very efficiently. But now with this unprecedented pandemic, the COVID-19, we've had to expend millions and millions of dollars to make sure that we're there for our residents and our business community. So I can't say enough about Congressman Neal to continue to push this HEROES Act and negotiate with Senator McConnell, because I feel as this is bipartisan, whether you're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. This is about people that are on the front lines, police, fire, DPW, you name it, out there. And that's why I always say, once a mayor, always the heart of the mayor. He understands how it operates, and we're very lucky to have him as the chair of Ways and Means.
Thanks,
so
Mr.
that's going to help out tremendously with my FY21, FY22, FY23 budgets. So this is not extra found money. This is money to fill a gap for what we had to, and our responsibility to provide for our residents and for our business community. Their number one priority, and that's been Congressman Neal's number one priority for his district, Springfield, and the whole country, to tell you the truth.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor.